Oh, hi again. Mr. Hinton here in Algebra 1. This is Pod 4. We're going to talk about order of operations, combining like terms, and distributive property. Let's do it. Okay, I want you to take a few moments, put it on pause, and do these problems, and then we'll quickly go over the answers to these. Put it on pause. Ready, go. When you get done, come back. Okay, we're back. Here we go now. I just want to point out a few things on this. So number one, I think you should be able to do. I want to point out on number 2, these are absolute value symbols, and you have to do what's inside the absolute value symbols first. 5 minus 16 is negative 11. Then when you take the absolute value of it, that returns a positive value for an 11. Same thing on number 4. 3 minus 7 is negative 4, and then when you take the absolute value of that, you get 4. Down here in number 5, they want us to write this as an algebraic expression. The product of 8 and 6. Product means multiply. Then you look for the word and that tells you where you're going to put your multiplication. So this would be 8. In place of and, I'm putting multiply 6. So the expression would be 8 times 6. Number 6, we have the difference of 10y and 4. Difference means subtract. Look for the word and. The difference of 10y, and that's where the subtraction goes. So 10y minus 4. I'm going to put the rest of the answers up here. Check your answers. Make sure you're doing them right as we go through them. And if you have questions, make sure you ask Mr. Hinton tomorrow. Moving on. Our objective here is to be able to simplify expressions using order of operations. So what is the order of operations? You should know this already, but the first thing you do is grouping symbols. That means parentheses, brackets, braces, fraction bar, square root symbol, lots of things like that. So grouping symbols come first. Then you do powers, in other words, things with exponents. You're looking for those next. Third, you're going to do multiplication and division in order from left to right. And finally, addition and subtraction in order from left to right. Grouping symbols, you'd see we have all of these things. You have parentheses, brackets, braces. Okay. And if there's more than one set of grouping symbols, you work from the inside out. Okay. In order to remember order of operations, you could go with, please excuse my dear Aunt Sally. Lots of times people remember that because the first letters there are the same as the first letters in parentheses. That's grouping symbols. Exponents, that's powers. Multiplication and division in order from left to right. Addition and subtraction in order from left to right. You could remember, please excuse my dear Aunt Sally, or you could just remember the first letters and the word PEMDAS. P-E-M-D-A-S. However you want to do it, you just need to remember order of operations. Okay, here's some examples. I want you to go through these, put it on pause, get your answer, and then let's see if you get it right. Okay, let's go through it now. This one, we should have, oh shoot. Sorry about that. This one we should have, we don't have any grouping symbols. We have an exponent here. So the first thing we have to do is get my pen to work. First thing we have to do is square 4. 4 squared is 16. That negative is not part of the exponent. So I have negative 16 plus 24 divided by 3 times 2. Next up, I have to do addition and subtraction in order from left to right. There's the first multiplication or division symbol I see. 24 divided by 3 is 8. Then I take 8 times 2. So negative 16 plus 8 times 2 is 16. Finally, negative 16 plus 16 gives me an answer of 0. Over here, I have multiple grouping symbols. I have parentheses inside brackets. I need to do the parentheses first. 5 minus 2 is 3. This exponent is on what's in the parentheses, so it goes on this 3. So I have 25 minus 3 inside these brackets with a 4 outside. I have to do what's inside the brackets first. And when I look at just these things, I have to follow order of operations too. So we're here. 3 squared is 9. This gives me a 25 minus 9. I have to do that before I can deal with the 4. 25 minus 9 is 16. Finally, 4 times 16 is 64. Off we go to the next problem. simplify this. Okay, 8 divided by 1/2 times 3. No parentheses, there's no exponents. I just do in order from left to right, multiplication and division. So 8 divided by 1/2. So 8 divided by 1/2 is the same as 8 times the reciprocal of 1/2, which is 2. Dividing by this fraction is the same as multiplying by its reciprocal. The reciprocal of 1/2 is 2. 8 times 2 gave me a 16 here. So we're going on with this problem then. Finally, 16 times 3 is 48, and we're done. Next problem. In number 4, go ahead and do it yourself real quick. See if you come up with the same answer. What I have to do first is 2 times 3. So 2 times 3 is a 6. Finally, then I have to go in order from left to right. 5 minus 6, which is -1 plus 1, gives me a 0. In number 5, there are no grouping symbols. There is an exponent. I have to do that first. 3 squared is 9. Then I have to do multiplication and division first. So 10 divided by 2 is 5. Finally, I do 12 minus 9 plus 5. 12 minus 9 is 3, plus 5 is 8 for my answer. Next group, I have to start with the inside group first. So there's 2 sets of grouping symbols. I have to start here. So I work 3 minus 1.5. I guess maybe I'm supposed to do this with my pen here. Let me get into this. Okay, let's back it back up. My mistake here. Okay, now we'll try it again. So 3 minus 1.5 is 1.5. I have to take 2 times that, because the 2 is right beside the parentheses. 3 squared minus 2, that's all in brackets. So following order of operations here, 3 squared is 9. 9 minus 2 times 1.5. 2 times 1.5 is 3. 9 minus 3 is 6. All of that is what I got from simplifying the brackets. This 4 is still outside there, and a 2.4 plus that. I have to do this multiplication first, so I end up with 2.4 plus 4 times 6 is 24. My final answer is 26.4. Okay, evaluate this expression. Now, this evaluate says we need to plug in 3 for x, plug this 3 in for x right here, and then evaluate what's going on. So 10 minus 3 times 6. Order of operations says I do this multiplication first. 10 minus 3 times 6 is 18. I end up with an answer of -8. Next one. Evaluate the expression for the given value of x again. Let's see if I can just work my way through this. So I plug the -2 in for x, right there. Then I have to do what's inside the parentheses. I get a 1. Then I have to do the exponents next. 16 times 1 gives me an answer of 16. Okay, fraction bars, radical symbols, absolute value symbols are also grouping symbols. So we'll see what happens in these next problems. This division bar right here is a grouping symbol. You have to do everything on top. Simplify it as much as you can. Simplify everything on the bottom as much as you can before you do that division. So, first thing we have to do on top is to multiply. Well, okay, we're going to do this exponent in the bottom first, I guess. So -2 to the 3rd power is -8. That's where that came from. -2 times -2 times -2 is -8. Now we're going to do this multiplication on the top. 2 times -8 is -16. Now we can do addition and subtraction in both the numerator and denominator. 5 plus -16 is -11. -8 minus 3 is -11. Finally, -11 divided by -11 is 1. So we're done with that. Next problem. We have absolute value symbols here. We have to do what's inside the absolute values first. 4 minus 7 is -3. Then we have to take the absolute value of that, which is 3. Finally, then we have to do exponents before division. 3 squared is 9, and 9 divided by -3 gives us our answer of -3. Next problem, this square root symbol. It's called a radical, or a square root. We have to do what's inside it because the square root is a grouping symbol. So we have 50 minus 1, that is a 49. Then we have to take the square root of 49, which is a 7. Finally, 3 right beside that means multiply. 3 times 7 is 21. Next problem. We have absolute value symbols here. And here we have to do what's inside the absolute value symbols first. Goodness gracious, what happened? So let's go down and look at this problem again. We have to do what's inside the absolute value symbols here. So I have to do 4 squared. 4 squared is 16. So I still have a 3 absolute value of 16 plus 8 divided by 2. Then I have to do this division. So 3 times the absolute value of 16 plus 8 divided by 2 is 4. Finally, do this addition. That gives me a 20. And 3 times the absolute value of 20. The absolute value of 20 is 20. So my final answer, 3 times 20 equals 60. And that does it for this section. Now you need to find Pod 4, Part B. Pod 4, Part B. Or Part 2, let's say. All right? Have a good one. Bye-bye.